This chapter begins with honestly one of the most realistic questions I think I might have ever seen finally be asked in Sakamoto days, because for once, Lou is contributing to the plot of the story, and while it might not be in any significant way or her actually getting involved in some kind of fight, the fact that she's asking, again, the most important questions that are going on is at least some kind of, usage of her character, and that's all we can really ask for, it seems, from Yuto Suzuki at this point. But she asks why Shin would do the dumb thing of leaving Heisuke behind, not because of, Heisuke said trust him, he wanted to be able to offer himself and be able to fight for the Sakamoto family on his own without help, but of all the times for Heisuke to do this, of all of the enemies that are most likely going to be heading to fight them and encounter them on the way to getting Sakamoto to this safe space, why did Shin have to let Heisuke take the enemy that seemed to be completely invulnerable to bullets? Because, again, with there being multiple 1v1s definitely going to be down the line, it's just so funny to me that of all the times for Shin to trust a haphazard, crazy, death wish, I'm going to sacrifice myself for you guys, go on without me, it had to be the one enemy that's a perfect counter for him. Because, not for nothing, I definitely think Kumanomi showing up makes this fight way more impactful for Heisuke, and I'm very excited to see how Heisuke handled this, because this is clearly going to be the hardest fight that Heisuke has ever had in all of Sakamoto's days. This is definitely his final hill and obstacle to cross in the story of Sakamoto days, especially knowing that we have entered what is the final battle. This is Heisuke's final chance to actually prove that Hyo's sacrifice wasn't in vain. And that's a big theme when it comes to this chapter specifically, because Kumanomi, obviously realizing that the Luchadore wrestle character is gonna have the advantage over Heisuke, she decides to try and jump on ahead and keep going after Sakamoto, which Heisuke refuses to let happen at all. And even though Heisuke can at least shoot Kumanomi with his bullets, I have to be honest with you, I definitely think Kumanomi has an advantage over Heisuke as well. So if Heisuke does manage to come out of this fight, whatever the end result is, this is clearly going to be one of the most defining moments for his character before the end game of the series. Because not only is Heisuke going up against a character that is a complete opposite to him, someone that can completely tank all of his bullets, because even Heisuke says in the battle he's fought people that can see and dodge his bullets. He's trained against Sakamoto before, he's fought with Shin against Seba, he's fought with Shin against Tenkyu. And honestly, that's another big moment in this fight as well, is that Heisuke is normally support. Being a sniper character in an assassin world, with his only talent being marksmanry, he usually is much better as support. So for once, Heisuke is put in a situation that he's almost always putting other people in. You've got the Luchadore pro wrestler character who's the close quarters combatant, and then you've got Kumanomi who is able to do long range attacks. And surprisingly, even though Heisuke is definitely fighting an uphill battle here, he's doing everything he can to make the most of his environment. Because even though Kumanomi is throwing things like full gigantic vehicles at him, Heisuke is being able to move fast enough to at least dodge the cars and then fire ricochet bullets that go off of the road, go off of the destroying car, and then almost cap Kumanomi right between the eyes, just barely hitting one of her giant moon earrings before she moves her head. This video is sponsored by GamerSupps, the ultimate energy and focus formula. GamerSupps is an awesome drink made up of a bunch of vitamins like vitamin C, vitamin D3, B6, B12, and vitamin H. All super good for you and your health, so it's not one of those awful sugar-filled concoctions that's gonna make you crash after drinking it. If you're still skeptical about it, go check out the link and use my code anyway. They are more than willing to send you some free samples and give you a chance to try their product for free. Use my code NOOP now for 10% off, and thank you GamerSupps for sponsoring the channel. And it's here that we see what's driving Heisuke in this fight, even though he has everything going against him. All the odds are stacked. Heisuke is, one, doing this to get revenge for Hyo, but in complete contradiction to what Kumanomi says, to where Kumanomi says, hey, if I kill you here, you realize that Hyo, the person that I killed earlier, died for nothing because he sacrificed himself to save you. he sacrificed himself to save the civilians and everyone there for them to live long lives. If I kill you here, not only did Hyo die for nothing because you died as well, but I killed you too. She's gonna be responsible for everyone's death. And that's when Heisuke realizes that, sure, killing Kumanomi could be revenge and could be a way to avenge Hyo. But not only is killing completely against the Sakamoto family rules, which Kumanomi views as Heisuke being a coward, but quite personally, I view the exact opposite. I think the fact that Heisuke is able to look the person who killed one of his role models in the eye and say, I'm going to stop you rather than I'm going to kill you, makes Heisuke a more valiant character than Hyo even was, right? Because if you really think about it, not to talk about a different series, but you look at a series like JJK or Gachiakuta where the main characters are wronged and their response is to say, I'm gonna wrong you worse than you wronged me. I'm gonna kill you for what you did. Heisuke, instead of falling prey to rage, falling prey to what Shin almost did going up against Tenkyu in the prison arc, Heisuke doesn't need to go through that same development. Heisuke already knows what's right. And the conclusion that Heisuke came to was this. Instead of killing Kumanomi and avenging Hyo that way, Heisuke can repay Hyo for his sacrifice by living his best possible life for as long as he can. And that's not being an assassin and being the best marksman. That's being the best Heisuke that he can be. Living and having fun with his friends, working at the convenience store and doing his best to help the Sakamoto family. And also in this moment, giving his life here to ensure that all of his friends not only live long lives as well, but the person at the head of all of this, Sakamoto, the person that showed Heisuke there was another route to life besides assassinhood, can live to be there for his family. And I think, again, while I personally have qualms with the fact that we're not killing people yet this far into the series, because I definitely feel like people like Kumanomi, people like Uzuki, people that are on Slur's gang at this point probably just need to die or they're always going to be problems. But again, the Sakamoto family's rules are not meant to be broken, and that's something that the prison arc wanted to show us completely. Even to our characters' detriment, they are going to do their best to not kill their enemies. And again, I'm just very interested to see how this fight goes, because it's a very mirror moment for Heisuke, who is finally seeing what can be done when you have a close quarters fighter and a long range fighter combining their abilities. Because the luchador character, who I know a lot of people wanted to be Hyo in disguise, who survived, and at this point, while deaths in Sakamoto days are rare, it's very hard to see a lot of characters dying, because most characters, that's why a lot of people complain about the stakes in Sakamoto days, because most characters do utterly just feel safe, like most people won't die. So it wouldn't be out of left field for Hyo to reveal that he didn't actually die, but I think that would make his death feel a lot less valuable. I feel like that would hurt the story more than it helped here. And also, what I will say is this luchador wrestling character definitely does seem to have his own personality, his own trope. His whole thing is going with the WWE style, I'm gonna take every hit, I'm not gonna dodge your bullets, I'm gonna survive your bullets and then dish out my own even harder damage to you. And he actually gets mad at Heisuke for dodging instead of just taking the attacks that he's dishing out to him, which I think is hysterical. And it's so genuine that even Heisuke is like, oh, I'm sorry. Wait, why am I saying sorry? But while this is definitely one of the biggest 50-50 moments in Sakamoto days, and I will definitely say it adds stakes in my opinion, because Heisuke up against the fight that he's having right now, two characters that have huge advantages against him, a character that's impervious to his bullets and a character whose magnetic abilities outright are 10 times better as a long-range weapon than what Heisuke can do, including the ricochet bullets, right? Heisuke does have a really potential chance of losing here, because unless someone does come to help him, it's tough to see how he wins. But at the same time, much like Kamihate was able to make the most of the situation during Shishiba and Osaragi's betrayal, Heisuke begins to do things that no one would ever expect him to do. He literally shoots a bullet at the gasoline and causes the friction to ignite the gasoline and start burning the luchador. Sure, you can tank my bullets, but if you're getting burned alive, you probably can't survive that. So with Heisuke's resolve gearing up, saying that he's gonna take these people down no matter what and that he can't go easy, this is again one of the toughest battles and one of the toughest win percentages I've ever seen a character in Sakamoto Days be up against, which just honestly makes me excited to see what happens. Is someone gonna come save Heisuke and take the tension and stakes out of this? Or is Suzuki gonna ride the hype of this tension and really push Heisuke's character to the absolute limits and come up with some of the most fun ways possible to have Heisuke win a battle that almost seems impossible for him to win? I don't know, but again, with this being Sakamoto Days' final story arc, with it being the final battles that these characters are going to be up against, if there was ever a time to push a character to break their limits and have them do some of the craziest things that they probably will never be able to do again, now is the time. Which again, makes me excited to see what can happen, but also there's a part of me that makes me worried because knowing how Suzuki can be sometimes, who knows? But this is where the chance of what Sakamoto does best has to shine, which is the amazing choreography and just ridiculous battle scenes that Suzuki is able to concoct in his brain. And again, with Heisuke using the friction to create a fucking giant explosion of fire to actually start hurting the wrestler with, I think this is only the beginning of what we'll be able to see Heisuke do. And for one of my favorite characters, I am not upset at all to see what Suzuki can pull out of his ass for that. But yeah, no, 110%. I absolutely love where this fight has the potential to go, and you already know I'll be here to see it through to the end. So guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button, and most importantly, subscribe if you don't want to miss any future Sakamoto Days videos besides just the reviews, because there's plenty of content coming out as well. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.